Well, welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. Harrison Graham here with another live show here on YouTube. Appreciate everybody tuning in, hanging out, talking ball here on a Wednesday. That's what we're going to do for the next hour plus. I got producer Jeffrey Cooperstein, a.k.a. Coop, a.k.a. Cooper, hanging out with us here as well. And we're going to have a good show. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Let us know where you guys are watching from. Shout out your city in the chat, and I'll get you guys some shout-outs here on today's show. Let's see. Sports Highlight says, how are we, lads? We're good. We're good. Is that Trace's burner account? He's a big lads guy. Raphael in Miami, Richard in Dallas, Little King in Atlanta. Sports Highlights in Australia, York, Pennsylvania from Xavier. We've got Rudy hanging out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You friends with Walter White? I wish I was friends with Walter White. Little King hanging out in the ATL. We got Isaiah up in Canada. He left out the second 8. Or Canada. We got I Hate You All in Tampa. Well, I don't hate you, so how about that? Corey in Marion, Alabama. Derek in Miami. We got Wavy in Orlando, Florida. Wah in Moscow. We've got Richard in Illinois. Seth in Milwaukee. Little King in Mexico. As well. Oh, Little King, you just said you were in Atlanta. Trying to trick me there? Icebox in East Point, Georgia. Sports Highlight says he's a Celtics fan, so you've got that. All right, Coop, we've kind of debated this in the office. Not just us two, but just among all the guys, Marshall Green, Patrick Seatman, Chase Sr., whoever else has wanted to chime in. Is the late, great Kobe Bryant,
R.I.P.,
NBA legend, is he top 5 of all time? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Coop, I'm going to let you go first.
I'll take the floor here. Kobe is not a top 5 player of all time. Not sure he's top 10.
You've been pretty firm. You don't think he's top 10.
The top 3 are extremely firm in Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I agree. I think that's the pretty kind of standard top 3.
And then after that, hello? Our boss James Yoder is here.
Still caller. I think a better good argument right now is better player right now if you're targeting today, Kobe or Steph.
Oh.
That's a tough one.
It is a tough
Steph.
one. Steph or Kobe? That's a good debate.
But so anyways, top 3 is Jordan, LeBron, Kareem.
Yeah.
After that, you could go Will
Wilt.
Chamberlain, you could go Larry Bird, you could go Magic Johnson.
I don't think Kobe is in the grouping of players that could be considered after the top 3. I don't think he's top 5. I do think he's pretty firmly top 10. I know for you he's not.
I like Shaq better.
He's an all-defensive guy. Yeah, dude, there's a strong argument for Shaq over Kobe. There really is. Now, Kobe played longer, better defensively.
You think Magic's the firm 4 at work, though.
Yeah.
He's above everybody else.
I think so, but you need to go ask Marshall Green what he thinks.
I'd go Magic or Wilt.
I think Magic's my 3 and Kareem before, but whatever.
Okay. Magic, boss man James Yoder chiming in there. I just
don't think he's top 5.
Magic 4, Wilt 5 in whatever order maybe. And then you go. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Where does like Jerry West weigh in? I know he's a scumbag, but where does Karl Malone weigh in? Like, he's second all time in scoring, isn't he?
Third now,
right? Because LeBron passed him.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's a very good debate for who is 4 through 9. I just don't think Kobe's
Let me ask you this. So LeBron, among active players, and you guys get your votes in. We'll continue to get shouts. Yes or no, is Kobe top 5? 76% of the votes say yes on the poll. Go vote. How many active players are top 10 ever?
Active?
LeBron, obviously, so at least one.
LeBron.
Is Steph top 10?
Steph has to be, right? You don't think of Steph in that light.
Is KD top 10?
AD is not top 10.
KD.
No chance.
Not
KD?
Yeah,
he is not top 10 either.
It's top 20, I think.
Yeah, he's probably top 20, but he's not top 10.
He's never won a title where you could clearly say he was the best player. He was the best player in the finals those 2 years, but...
He was the best player on those Warriors teams.
But, like, there would still be a discussion, is my point.
Sure.
Like with Steph.
But
he was better in the playoffs.
Top 10 all-time players go, I think LeBron, and I think Steph. You don't think of Steph in that light. People don't really think of it that way, but
I mean, look, here's
He changed the game.
And here, for sure, but here's the thing that would go against Steph, like if you're having a Steph-Kobe debate, is he's never going to be in the convo that Kobe is defensively.
Never.
He's a much more efficient
never.
scorer. It's interesting. I think Steph is top 10-ish. KD is top 20-ish.
James says Magic Johnson, surefire number 4 at worst.
Well, he's not even the best point guard of all time, so I don't know how that can be.
Who is that, Steph?
Yes.
So you think Steph is better than Magic, undisputed?
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, I can buy it.
So who's 4?
I think it's the best
Is it
argument
Wilt?
in sports. I think it's the best argument in sports.
Who that 4th Mount Rushmore is?
It's hard. I mean, the logo is Jerry West, so what does that say about,
I mean, Jerry West, let me pull up some numbers here. Jerry West, and I promise we'll move on. Dude, I didn't realize he averaged 27 in his career. That's pretty damn good. Now, the three-point shot was not a thing, obviously. So how does that weigh in? 47.5% field goal percentage. I would love to know what percentage of the career shots he took would have been a 3 in today's NBA.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because,
we'll never know.
Well, I'm sure someone could technically compile the data.
I guess.
But I'm not going to do it.
All right. We'll revisit this later in the show.
Yeah, I think it's a good debate. When will Dame get traded? August 1st, you see at the top there. That's the over-under I'm setting. B for before then, so in the month of July. A for after. It's going to get at least into the month of August. Coop, I think it's going to drag. I think this could get into the month of August.
August? It's July 12th now? So 3 weeks? Yeah, I think it could get into August.
Rashard Lee makes a great point. What about Tim Duncan?
I think Duncan's top 10. I think Duncan's over Kobe.
Yeah.
I just do. Yeah, I mean, Rashard Lee also has a good point on this one at the trade deadline. I think it could play into the season. Definitely think it could.
Okay, let me ask you this. If it goes into the trade deadline, is he playing games or is he sitting at home?
He will play games. If it goes that far where he's still on Portland on opening night, he will play games.
Will he wear a fat suit like James Harden did in the layup?
He will not intentionally try to tank his value.
Raphael says before. Marty K says after. Ice says after. Now Raphael saying after. I think it will be after August 1st, but I think it'll be before the season. I don't think it'll drag to because I think there's still too much mutual respect between Dame and the Blazers where, yeah, it could get a little ugly here, but I don't think they want to tarnish what's been a good partnership.
He's the best Blazer of all time.
Yeah.
I don't think that's even debatable. He's meant so much to that
He's
franchise.
Won either Walton or Aldridge too.
Yeah, I mean, you have what's-his-face, Drexler as well.
Yeah.
So
that's the Mount Rushmore of Portland. No
and
doubt about it.
he's given them some incredible memories. I mean, the buzzer beaters against Houston and OKC. He's done a lot for that franchise. I think they'll find a way to amicably split.
I think it'll be before the season, but I do think it'll be after August 1st. That's my prediction. All right, if you're ready for today's show to start, like the video, hit that thumbs up icon, and support us here. Hit that like button. We only got 23 likes right now, 115 people watching live here, so hit the thumbs up if you are ready for today's show to start, and Coop and I would greatly appreciate it. Here's what's coming up on NBA Now by Chat Sports. New NBA trade rumors, the latest on Damian Lillard and James Harden. We'll discuss that. Live Q&A, 2 mailbags today, hashtag NBA or Super Chat to get your questions answered here on the show. And then we'll take a look at 10 trade candidates, 10 big-name players that could still get moved before the regular season gets here. We still have a few months to go, obviously. So busy show planned for you guys here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. Jeffrey Cooperstein, Harrison Graham. We are ready to roll here. So we'll get things kicked off with the latest NBA trade rumors around Dame and James Harden. That'll start things here on today's episode of NBA Now. What's up, basketball fans? Harrison Graham from Chat Sports, and on today's episode of NBA Now, we're going to get you guys caught up on the latest around Damian Lillard and James Harden, and we're kind of in this mode of the offseason where we're 2 weeks or so into free agency. The NBA is kind of at a standstill. The notable free agents that aren't left, I think, are waiting to see what happens with Dame, what happens with Harden, will they get traded, when will they get traded. I think we're kind of at a standstill as the trade market has kind of taken control here, but with no action in recent days. But let's get you caught up on the latest around each of these players. Here's Damian Lillard. The Blazers are in no rush to trade Dame if the right deal isn't out there for them. And look, Joe Cronin's made it clear that this could take months. Those are his words, the Blazers general manager. So they are not going to force the issue here when it comes to Damian Lillard. Here's Zach Lowe of ESPN. He says the buzz going around Vegas is that they are not entirely bluffing when they say if he's on our team in training camp, he's on our team in training camp. We're okay with that. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but that's certainly what they're signaling, and clearly there's been no progress at all to speak of with the deal with the Heat. Are teams hesitant to trade for Dame? I mean, look, I think when a player requests a trade like this, it's complicated, right? He's been with Portland for over a decade. He's an aging player, so gauging how much he's worth is something to figure out. His contract is tough, so there's not going to be a ton of teams to begin with that are super interested in, and especially when you add in the wrinkle that Damian Lillard has made it loud and clear that he wants to go to one team and one team only, the Miami Heat. And while the Heat could construct some good offers, there's teams out there that can offer better. So I think Portland's kind of in this mode of, hey, like, we want to get the best offer possible. We're not just going to give you to the Miami Heat. Here's another quote from Chris Mannix of SI. He says, he's getting up there in age, like I said, with a lot of years and a lot of money left on that deal. If you're a team that's acquiring him, you know you're getting a great offensive player, but what kind of defensive player are you getting? If you bring Lillard into the mix, what does he do to your defensive identity if you're Boston or if you are Philadelphia? Now, I'll just quickly address those two. If it's Philadelphia and it's some sort of Harden swap where Harden goes to a third team, I don't think much changes. I don't think going from Harden to Lillard is like a downgrade defensively, and I actually think it's an upgrade offensively, at least from a scoring output. So I think it wouldn't change their defensive identity per se. Boston, it definitely would, especially if Jaylen Brown was in that trade, which you almost feel like it would have to be to get him to Boston. There are deals that could happen where Dame ends up as a Celtic that doesn't include Jaylen Brown. It just becomes a lot more difficult. We know how special Dame is as an offensive player, but when he only wants to go to one team and when that one team doesn't have a first-round pick until 2028, things get a little complicated. Will Damian Lillard be on Portland's opening night roster? What do you guys think about that? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. I still think he gets traded. I think it'll drag on for a bit. I bet we get into the month of August, but I think by the time training camps roll around, Dame is wearing a new jersey, and that jersey will probably say Heat on the front of it. Now, guys, we have NBA coverage all year long and all off-season long. This is when we really have a ton of content. So hit that subscribe button right now here at Chat Sports. Don't miss out. Latest updates, news, rumors, trade buzz. We dropped our post-week one of free agency power rankings this past weekend, so go check that out as well. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Help us grow this channel on a daily basis. So we go from Damian Lillard to James Harden now. Ramona Shelburne having an update there saying, I don't think they're close to anything. There's been kind of lingering reports recently of it's more and more likely that he could return to the Philadelphia 76ers. Here's what Shelburne had to say. She said, quote, James Harden has spoken to Daryl Morey since the first trade request, and I think there was a cooling off period. They've spoken again, and Harden still reiterated that he wants to be traded. Now, this isn't a demand, it's a request. I think the Sixers have said, okay, we will try to trade you, but there is no hurry to do this. I think the Sixers understand here that they have the leverage. James has picked up his option. This is an opt-in. He's going to be a free agent, so at some point he needs to play, whether that's in Philadelphia or elsewhere. And it's a good point by Shelburne because if he wants to have any chance of cashing in one more time, he's got to play because he's on a one-year opt-in for next year. So the best situation for James Harden might just say, okay, Daryl, if you don't trade me, cool, I'll show up. I'm going to play. I'm going to do my thing. If you can't trade me, awesome. But at least showing that willingness and flexibility to play for the 76ers is, I think, a good move for Harden if he were to go that route. He can still want to get traded, but if he doesn't, don't go the Ben Simmons route and just be a guy that's not going to show up. Now, again, I've said this, I'll continue to say this. I don't think if Harden were to get traded, it would happen until after Dame gets traded. I think that's how it would play. Like, Dame is going to get traded first if both end up getting traded. So I think it would surprise all of us if Harden got traded first, because teams interested in Harden are also interested in Dame. So that's just kind of where things sit in terms of the pecking order. More to discuss on this topic, but get yourself a Real One t-shirt, chatsports.com/Real One. Whether you're living here in Dallas, which is where we're at here at the Chat Sports studio, or anywhere around the world, we can get one of these shipped to you. Chatsports.com/Real One. Pick up a t-shirt today, and if you watch our content, that makes you a real one. So appreciate everybody who has tuned into our coverage all the time, and get yourself a Real One shirt if you're a fan of what we're doing here at Chat Sports. Okay, pros and cons of James Harden. Look, I think he's done a good job of reinventing himself. His explosiveness isn't what it was, but he's become one of the best distributors in the NBA, led the league in assists last year. Good two-man game with Joel Embiid. He's always had that great pocket bounce pass and the pick and roll there. Shot the ball well last year. I mean, second best percentage from three in his career. He was huge in that Boston series in the games they did win. Now, he was bad in the games they lost, but they wouldn't have even gotten to a Game 7 without Harden. He had big-time performances in Game 1 and 4, including some late baskets, and he could still score at all three levels. Now, here's a con. He's old. How does he age? It doesn't seem like he's always committed to his body. He's not always in great shape. He's way too inconsistent, especially come playoff time. Has not proven to be a high-level championship player. Again, individual games, there were a few in that Boston series this year, but doesn't string them together, and he's lacking accountability. I know Shelburne can say this is not a demand, it's a request. The bottom line is he has now requested, at the minimum, a trade 3 times, which is a record. No other player in the history of this sport has gone public with the trade request 3 times. And now James Harden has done that, and this is a player that still wants to make a healthy contract. So, look, it's a tricky situation. I think Harden played pretty well this year, and I think he deserves credit for that. There is still something left in the tank. And look, coming into this year, that was a real question. We did not know if Harden had a lot left in the tank, and he proved this year that he definitely does have a decent amount left in the tank. Now, I'm on record saying that his best situation would be as a number 3 on a contending team. In Philadelphia, can Tyrese Maxey elevate enough where he's the clear number 2 next to Joel Embiid, and Harden's kind of he's just distributing the ball as a number 3 option? I don't think that quite took place last year, even though I like Maxey better than Harden. But could a team like the Clippers go get him and he can be their number 3 next to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, go all in on this year? I think there are situations where that can exist, but not a lot of teams out there that are willing to take on James Harden and have him be their number 3 guy. Now, who gets traded first? What do you guys think? Type L for Damian Lillard or type H for James Harden? I think Dame gets moved first, and I think he will be a Miami Heat player. Harden, I think it's 50-50 on whether or not he even gets traded in the first place. So let me know what you guys think. All right, we'll get some shout-outs here. Get my monitor back on here. 1 second. Yeah, you know, when you're spitting these takes and you're not moving your mouse around, it can go black on you. But Marty K says Harden. Brandon says Lillard. Raphael says Lillard. Still people debating best players. Yaha says LeBron number 5. I just don't think you could. At worst, he's like 3, but I think he's 2. Like, I'll put it this way. I think he's closer to 1 than 3. So, Icebox says LeBron. Lone says, aren't you in the camp of, you think LeBron's the GOAT?
I've gone back and forth on it. I'm going to say it's Jordan, but I think LeBron is probably the best player of all time.
Yeah.
I think best and greatest are different, as Marshall Green said. Jordan's done more winning, but I think LeBron is a better player than Jordan was.
Yeah, and it's just so hard. Like, I think all sports are hard because eras just change so much. Like the NFL, like people like rag on like Troy Aikman, like, oh, his stats is, oh, it was a running league. They had Emmitt Smith, like, you know, he kind of took a back seat because of that. But so how can you compare him to a guy like Josh Allen or someone who's playing today. Same true as basketball. 3-point line gets invented. There's way more emphasis on shooting the three. You can't hand check in today's NBA. Like, how does that impact things? It's hard to compare. Wilt's a perfect example. When people tell me, dude, Wilt was, you watch the clips, it's not like it looked that. I can't argue with him that much. Now, my counter is that the guy averaged like 50 and 25 in a season.
My dad will die on the Wilt Hill as the best player of all time.
He thinks he's the GOAT, right?
He will die on the Wilt Hill.
Yeah, I can't go that far. I think he's top 5.
The people don't agree with my take of LeBron being a better basketball player. I think Jordan's the best basketball player. Jordan is the greatest. LeBron is the best.
Wilt in his career averaged 30 and 23. In one season, he averaged 50 points and 26 rebounds. I know it's a different era, but like, come on. That is. And the year after that, he averaged 45 and 24.
Wilt was nuts.
He averaged 34.7 or more 7 straight seasons.
And the one year he averaged 50.
50 and 26?
I mean, come on.
Dude, his first 2 years he averaged 38 and 27. Guy averaged 38 and 27 as a rookie.
Gingy says Wilt knew Kung Fu. Please make sure you use hashtag NBA or Super Chat, by the way, to get on the show. We need some questions for our mailbag coming up.
Need more questions. By the way, who do you consider Wilt's, like he played with the Lakers to end his career, but that wasn't his peak?
I would say Philadelphia.
And then the Warriors after that?
Well, I believe it was the Philadelphia Warriors, wasn't it?
Then it was the San Francisco Warriors.
Yes.
So just that franchise?
That franchise.
Okay, the Warriors. Okay. Yeah, because then it went back to Philly. So how did that work? Was that an expansion team, or did they move back?
Yeah, I don't know how that worked.
Was it the 76ers at that point? I don't know. Yeah, it was. So the Sixers was an expansion team, and he went back to Philly. So that's what happened. He's a Philly Bull. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. We need more questions. Plus, we're doing 2 mailbags today, so we need a lot more questions to get those to get those mailbags done. Trade ideas, free agency, whatever the case may be. Richard Lee says y'all like movie Quarterback. I haven't watched it yet. I want to watch it.
I haven't watched it either. Everyone says it's good.
How many episodes are there? Do you know?
No, it's just a movie, right? The Kurt Warner one? Oh, or is he talking
about
the
Mahomes doc?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to watch it, though.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch it. Hashtag NBA. Wine says Syracuse Nationals moved to Philadelphia, became the 70s. That's right.
Shout out Wine Sipping Cowboy.
Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. Got a few coming in. Need a few more. There's one from Fabian. Trade ideas, team questions, free agency, the upcoming season. Load them up. Hashtag NBA, Super Chat. Jordan lost to Shaq and the Magic, LOL. Look, I will say this. One thing that LeBron has over Jordan Coop is he was winning in the playoffs early. Now, he wasn't winning finals necessarily, but he wasn't a guy losing in the first round multiple times.
LeBron?
Yes.
Yeah, LeBron. When LeBron got
Has he ever lost a first round series?
He has never lost
with the Lakers.
With the Lakers, that was the first time he lost in the first round.
That's insane.
And LeBron was also in the finals at 22 years old. He dragged that team to the finals.
Was that his second or third year?
That was year...
Fourth?
I think that was 4.
Year 4? Yeah. All right, we got someone in here. Hashtag NBA, Super Chat. I think we can get to 8 on this first piece, Cooper, and then we'll do a second sack a little bit later.
Don't call him Cooper.
Cooper. Can't call him Cooper. All right, here we go. NBA mailbag time coming up here at Chat Sports. What's up, sneakerheads? Harrison Graham here from Chat Sports with another episode of NBA Now. On today's show, we're going to take all your questions, so use hashtag NBA or Super Chat. No Super Chats yet, so if you send one in, you will jump to the front of the line. We'll start with Marty K. Will the Bulls finally trade Zach LaVine? Marty, I think what's most likely in this scenario is a trade deadline deal because I don't think the way the Bulls are operating, they want to try and compete this year. So I think they're going to see how it goes early on and kind of evaluate where they're at approaching the trade deadline. And if they're not contending, I think Levine, DeRozan, Caruso, a lot of those guys could become available. But I don't think an offseason trade will happen unless they just get a huge offer that they have not gotten up to this point. So I think he stays there for now, and it gets revisited at the trade deadline depending on where they are. Fabian here, then we'll get to that $20 super chat. Fabian says, think the Knicks will make another move. I mean, I think they will at least sign a vet minimum guy, but will they make a trade? You know, there was a report out there that New York was working on a trade with the Clippers, but the Clippers were asking for a little bit too much, so they backed out of that. Leon Rose might have a patient approach here. Maybe he says, hey, we're going to roll into the season with what we got, and if we feel like we need to make a splash move at the deadline, maybe for Zach LaVine, we'll do that. But I don't think they're going to force the issue. They won 50 games last year, just about. They were the fifth seed in the East, made the second round. You know, you shouldn't make a trade just to make a trade, but I do think they are an opportunistic franchise and will look to strike if an opportunity is there. The Gold Eagle Super Chat. Shout out to the Gold Eagle with the 20. He says, Kobe is the only all-time great who won 3 championships with a teammate much greater than him. He can't be top 5. We've discussed that as well in our debate around Kobe Bryant. Is he a top 5 player in NBA history? There's a very strong argument, those first 2 titles with the Lakers, that Shaq was better, and there's an argument the third one he was better. Now, it's more of a debate in that third one. They were definitely closer, but at least 2 of the 5 that he won, he was not the best player. So I think that does have to be considered when evaluating Kobe's career, and I think there's an argument that Shaq is ranked higher than Kobe, which is why when I am asked this question, is Kobe Bryant a top 5 player ever, type Y for yes or N for no, I would say no. I think he's top 10. I would for sure put him top 10, but I can't sit here and undisputedly say he is top 5. He's one of the greatest players of all time, but he's top 10 to me, not top 5. A legend nonetheless. It's a good debate to have. What's up, Say? Should the Bulls look to bring in a guy like JaMychal Green? To help them with some of their big man depth. Yeah, he can kind of play 3 through 5 depending on how you build your roster. I think he's best suited as a stretch 4 type. He shot the ball fairly good for Golden State last year, but was in and out of their rotation, especially in the postseason. I'd be okay with it. Vet minimum deal for JaMychal Green to give you some more front court scoring, because you make a good point. After Nikola Vucevic, you don't really have a ton of that. I mean, how much is Patrick Williams going to get you in the scoring department? Hopefully he's a double-digit scorer this year, but I think a guy like JaMychal Green can get you, 6 to 8 points coming off the bench. Jimahu, what can the Mavs ideally get for Hardy? I mean, I think if it was just a pick, you'd probably get like a protected first or maybe even an unprotected first from a team. But I think if the Mavs were to trade Hardy, it would be in a deal to acquire an all-star, like some kind of trade where it's like Jaden Hardy, Maxi Kleber, and JaVale McGee plus a couple of picks for a Paul George or something like that. I don't think it would be a one-for-one swap. I think he'd be a part of a bigger deal, but I actually think he has more trade value than Josh Green. So I would not trade Jaden Hardy unless you're getting a clear-cut all-star. Hit that subscribe button here at Chat Sports, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. We continue to plug out NBA content all the time here with the latest news updates, rumors that are circulating, trade buzz that's out there with big-name players across the association. Don't miss any of it. Hit that subscribe button right now. From Chase Jr., if Dame isn't traded to Miami, which team does he start the season with? Portland? I mean, I just, unless something changes, unless Jason Tatum can convince Dame, hey, man, come here, let's make it happen in Boston, I don't know what team is going to emerge out of nowhere and be the team that convinces Dame right now. Doesn't have a no-trade clause, so it's not like he controls everything. But if his agent is telling all teams but the Heat, we don't want to play here, you're going to get a disgruntled player, Well, unless he changes his tune on that, it seems unlikely that one of those teams would trade for him. I would consider calling that balk if I liked him enough if I was a GM, but not all GMs are willing to make that gamble. Where does Dame play next season? If you think it's the Blazers still, type B. I don't think it will be. If you think it's the Miami Heat, type H. That's where I think he'll be. If you think it's someone else, type O for other, or you can drop a team name in the comments. Where does Dame play next season? Icebox to Great. What do the Hawks need to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals? Look, I mean, let's be kind of honest. That run was kind of a fluke. And I'm not making – I'm not like saying, you know, the Hawks are a garbage franchise or this and that. Producer Coop might be. I'm not. I think they can be a playoff team next year, but it was the year after the bubble. The fans weren't in the stands. The Sixers choked once again. Like, that 76ers team losing to that Hawks team is a disgrace. I mean, of all the Sixers' shortcomings in the second round in recent years, there is no doubt that is the worst one. I mean, they should not have lost to the Atlanta Hawks. So, you know, I think they need like a big-time wing next to Trae Young. They brought in DeJounte Murray, who can help defensively last year, and he obviously can score. I don't love that fit with Trae Young, though, so I don't know. I mean, do you reset a little bit and trade Trae Young and Clint Capella and build around DeJounte and other players? It's tough to say. Denver's, what else will the Rockets need to reach the playoffs? I think time more than anything else. Like, you know, Van Vliet and Brooks, look, they're clear overpays, but I do think they'll help them in the winning department. Now, they're going to go from 18 to 20 wins to 44, which is probably what you need to make the playoffs. That seems like a stretch, but you need time. You need these young players to continue to improve. Şengün, take another step. Jalen Green, take another step. Some of these other young bucks as well. So I can need time, and you need to see how Van Vliet and Brooks mesh with these young players. Brandon Brown, are the Lakers done, or do you see another move in them? I think they're pretty much done, at least for now. Now, I definitely think they're a trade deadline team. Like, they brought back a lot of their guys, like D'Lo and Austin Reeves, etc. Maybe you package some of those mid-tier contracts at the deadline for a third star next to LeBron and AD, but I don't think that trade's out there right now for them. I think they're pretty content with what they've done. They've added guys like Taurean Prince too, so I think they're content. Now, will the Lakers win the West this year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I still think Phoenix and Denver, and I'll put Denver as the team to beat, are the top two in the West, but LA and Golden State are right there. Y for yes, N for no. What do you guys think when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers? Continue to get your votes in on Kobe. Is he a top 5 player ever?
This is one of the best debates we've had in a while. Hello, Sam Brown.
What's up? Chiefs.
Cool. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Roger.
10-4.
Yeah, I just
Some people think he's number 2. There's just no way.
He's not 2. Maybe the number 2 shooting guard.
He is the number 2 shooting guard.
Probably is, yeah. It's kind of weird how shooting guards, like to me, there's a pretty decent gap between Jordan and Kobe. Not like massive, but I mean, if Kobe's not top 5, there's at least 5 players in between.
Yeah.
So no shooting guards there. Michael Redd not in there.
Raphael says Jordan number 3.
Oh, stop.
If Kobe's number 2,
Where
then
does your
who's
dad
number
have
1?
Jordan?
He says LeBron 1.
Where does your dad have Jordan if he has Wilt?
I think he probably has Jordan 2.
LeBron 3.
Yeah.
Is that probably his top 3? Kareem 4.
Probably. He does love Wilt Chamberlain, though.
How much of that is just his childhood?
Oh, I'm sure that's a lot of it, the
Yeah.
nostalgia.
Was he in the stands for the 100-point game?
He was not in Hershey, no. He was not there.
Hershey.
That's where it was.
I know, it's just... shit. Raphael says LeBron 1, Jordan 3, Kobe 2. Kobe's not better than Jordan, guys. Stop. What is Kobe better at than Jordan?
But that's why this topic is so polarizing, because Kobe stands will say he's better than Jordan. Jordan stands will say he's the GOAT. LeBron stands will say he's better than all of them.
People will say Kobe's a better three-point shooter than Jordan. I think it's pretty close, actually. Kobe in his career from 3, 32.9%. He wasn't a great three-point shooter. Jordan, 32.7, so that's a wash. From the field, Kobe, 44.7, Jordan, 49.7. That's a pretty sizable gap there. Defensively, I think you could say is a push. Kobe's right there with Jordan defensively, I would say.
I'd say Jordan's better defensively than Kobe. But it's close.
It's like, I'm saying that's closer than who's a better and more efficient scorer. Like, Jordan's a more efficient.
Raphael says Butler number 4. Which Butler? Jimmy? Rasul? Karan?
I'd put Karan top 5. Yeah. If you're saying Jimmy Butler's 4.
Golden Eagle, that is spot on.
Raphael says yes. You can back out of this conversation, bro. Jimmy.
Golden Eagle
You're
is spot
trolling.
on. Millennials tend to think Kobe is 1 or 2 all time. That's true. The people who grew up watching Kobe tend to think he's higher up on the list than the people that grew up watching Jordan and so forth.
What's wrong with saying Kobe's the 7th best player ever? You're still unreal.
Yeah, true.
Like, just because he's not top 5 doesn't mean he's elite. I'd love to put Dirk. He's in my personal favorite top 5. My personal
Dirk's
favorite top
top
1. But I'm not going to sit here and say he's top 5 or top 10. I think he's top 20.
You don't think Dirk's top 20?
No, I said I do think he's not top 10, but he is top 20.
Yes, agreed. And Dirk's my top 1.
Yeah, he's my personal favorite player ever. But you can't let that cloud the judgment.
Never.
Can't let that cloud the judgment. Continue to get your questions in. We'll get back into another mailbag here in a little bit. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat here on the show. Didn't Kobe score more points in the game than MJ? I mean, sure, if you want to take one individual game against the Raptors in, 2007?
Before that.
Then, sure.
On Jalen Rose's head top.
The 81s, I'll say this. Kobe's 81 more impressive than Wilt's 100.
Agreed.
I will say that. Was it Booker that had 70 a couple
Booker
years
had
ago?
70, and Donovan Mitchell had 70-something last year.
With the Cavs?
Yeah.
Shit, did he really?
Yeah.
That's electric.
Yeah, he had 70-something.
Wow.
Maybe 71 last year.
Dude, that is nuts. Dude, if I was a team that was tanking, that would be my goal. I wouldn't do it every game.
Try to get someone
but
to score.
I would try to get someone to score as many points as possible.
That'd be pretty dope.
Like when the Mavs tanked at the end of the year, they should have had Tim Hardaway take 50 shots. Why not?
See how many he makes.
Yes.
Imagine he goes 25 of
Dude, if
50.
If it's 23s, you take 60 of them. It's 33%. It's 60 points already. That's what I would do. If I was tanking, I'd be like, all right, you tonight, you get 60 shots. All right.
All right. I'm waiting for this thing to sync here, but I think we're good.
Looking for some graphs.
Yeah, we got it. Don't worry. You want to coldie this piece, right?
Yeah. That's what the scripty says. Good. All right, one more segment or two more. We'll get back into another mailbag here in a little bit, but we're going to take a look at some trade candidates coming up next here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. Let's get to the Super Chat real quick. All right. The Golden Eagle. Did he send in the 22? Oh, Golden Eagle, the MVP today. That's right. Over under OKC, Thunder, and wins. I think they can be 5th seed in the West. Little surprise. I would say, what did they win last year, Coop? Let's see. 30. I'm going to guess they won
39
40.
or 40.
They went 40 and 42.
I'd say 45.
I was going to say 44 and a half.
I think that's a good over-under. I think they're going to be really good.
I think they're going to be much better, but I also think the West has gotten better.
I love their draft pick in Case and Wallace. I love how Chet's played in the Summer League. I think they can be a good team in the West
Think
this
of the
year.
teams above them last year. Denver, I'm not saying they got better.
Phoenix.
They lost Bruce Brown, but they're going to win 50 games. Memphis,
We'll see.
Ja's out 25 games, but with Ja, they're still a 50-plus win team. Sacramento's gotten better, I think. They won 48 last year. Phoenix has definitely gotten better. Clippers, could they jump the Clippers? Lakers have gotten better for sure, so that's 6 ahead of them that have already gotten better. Timberwolves, they're kind of like the Clippers. Warriors, CP3, better than Poole? I don't know. So, I mean, they could be the 6 or 17 seed, and I think that's probably going to be in that 45-win range. So, yeah, I I think 45 is a realistic goal for OKC. I think they can win 5 more games. SGA continues to improve. Giddey, year 3 leap. I'm in. Chet's back. Let's go. He's looked good in the Summer League. All right, let's get into this segment, top 10 NBA trade candidates. Before we get into today's episode of NBA Now by Chat Sports, I want you guys to get your comments going. Which big-name player gets traded next? Maybe you think it's Dame. Maybe you think it's James Harden, but maybe it's someone else. Which player gets traded next on the trade market? Let us know here at Chat Sports. My name's Harrison Graham, and you are watching NBA Now by Chat Sports. On today's show, we're going to take a look at the top 10 trade candidates. A lot of guys that have been connected to rumors, so we're going to dive in here on the show. Let's start with the obvious one. That, of course, is Damian Lillard, who remains as a Portland Trailblazer by now. For now, I should say, coming off a great year in which he averaged 32 points, over 7 assists, 46 from the field, 37% from 3. He wants out. He wants to play for the Miami Heat. That's the report, that it's Heat or bust in Dame's eyes. Now, could that change? Possibly. Is Portland just going to give him to Miami? No. So that's why this could drag out. But he's the biggest trade name out there. He wants out. He will get out. The question is, when will that happen? And how does that impact James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers? Now, recent reports suggest that Harden could remain in Philly. That could end up being the outcome between these two parties. Now, he has maintained that he does want to get traded. Ramona Shelburne had a new report saying that things have smoothed over a bit, but he still wants out. Here's the quote from Ramona saying, "I think the Sixers would have said, okay, we will try to trade you, but there is no hurry to do this. I think the Sixers understand here that they have the leverage. James has picked up his option. This is an opt-in. He's going to be a free agent, so at some point he needs to play, whether that's in Philadelphia or elsewhere." And the point she's saying is sure, Harden can continue to want out, but if he's willing to sit out games, that's not going to benefit him because he's 33 years old and he's a free agent next year. So if he skips all year, what's he going to sign next offseason? Probably not a great contract. So I think he will play at some point. I still think there's a good chance he gets traded. I'd say it's 50-50. But the longer this goes on, and especially the longer the Dame stuff drags out, I think it does become at least possible that Harden returns to Philadelphia. Now, who gets traded first? I think it's clearly going to be Damian Lillard. Type L if you think it's Dame. Type H if you think it's James Harden. Pinned comment on today's video, so if you get hit with that ad break, reply with an L or H. Pascal Siakam next up here, and Mark Stein a few days ago said that he could be the next domino that falls, that the Siakam trade buzz has increased. The Pacers and Magic are a couple of teams that are monitoring the veteran wing forward with Toronto, and he's coming off arguably his best year of his career with over 24 points per game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. That's an area he's really improved at. You look in his last 4 years, he's gone from 3.5 assists to almost 6, so he's improved a lot in that area. He's never become that knockdown three-point shooter, but can knock down the occasional open three. Again, Stein did report that he could be that next all-star level player that does get moved, and I think it makes sense. He's 29 now. He's a free agent after this year. Toronto's kind of at a crossroads. I think getting something for Siakam would be a good move, or extend him. I think you should pick one or the other, but I think trading him does make a lot of sense. Before we jump to our next trade candidate, pick yourselves up a Real One t-shirt. Chatsports.com/Real One. We got black t-shirts available, red, navy, purple, green, all kinds of different ones available in different sizes. Chatsports.com/Real One. That link is in the comments and in the description to pick up a Real One Chat Sports t-shirt today. Don't miss out. Zion Williamson is next up here, and look, he's a tough case study, right? He's had a lot of injuries. He's had some distractions. This whole Mariah Mills situation isn't a good look for the kid either, and look, what is his trade value? That is a question I would ask. Are you getting multiple first if you're New Orleans? Are you getting a young and up-and-coming all-star level player to get Zion Williamson? I don't know if that trade exists. Maybe you're doing some kind of swap, disgruntled for disgruntled. I don't know who that second player is. Yeah, it's a tough one. When he plays, he's a superstar talent. The problem is he doesn't play enough. He doesn't seem super committed to his fitness. I think he would benefit from a fresh start, but New Orleans doesn't want to get pennies on the dollars either. So it's a tricky situation to navigate if you are the Pelicans. Now, would you want Zion on your favorite team? I think it's a good question. I mean, would you go gamble and trade for him? Type Y for yes, you would, or N for no, you would not. I think I would take the gamble for my favorite team, but I'd have to think about it, probably get a good night's rest before I made that trade. Bojan Bogdanovic, it seems like he's always connected to NBA trade rumors, and those have been brought up again. The Mavericks, in a recent report, have been linked and reportedly interested in Bogdanovic. And look, I could see this as well because the Mavs are trying to win now. Detroit is a young team on the rise. Could they get a guy like a Josh Green from Dallas to kind of mesh in with their young core? I could see that being a possibility. I don't think the Mavericks would trade Jaden Hardy to get Bojan Bogdanovic, but I do think Josh Green could be had for him, and Bogdanovic could be that kind of number 3 scorer next to Luka and Kyrie, give them 18 to 20 points per game, play the 3, some stretch 4, so wouldn't be surprised at all if this took place. Now, if a big trade happens in the NBA, we'll probably go live here on the channel. At minimum, we'll make a video and push it out for you guys, cover that news. So hit that subscribe button. We also cover the latest rumors and trade buzz that's out there and a whole lot more. So don't miss out on the latest surrounding the association. 5 players down, 5 to go. Tobias Harris, who things have quieted around in recent days, but he's a guy that I think if the right trade was there, Philadelphia would make. Now, Daryl Morey seems to have a good relationship with Harris. He's got 1 year left in his deal. They may opt to keep him around, maybe even extend him on a cheaper contract than he got last time. He signed basically a max with Elton Brand. Shout out Elton Brand. But I think on a new deal, maybe 3 years, $65, $75 million to stick with Philadelphia. We'll see if that's in the cards or if he could get traded. DeAndre Ayton is going to be connected to trade rumors until the end of time. We do know for a fact that the Mavericks made an offer for Ayton at some point in the offseason. After draft night, they tried to make a JaVale McGee, Rashawn Holmes, Tim Hardaway Jr. for Ayton swap. Phoenix turned it down, citing that they did not want to take on JaVale McGee, so they're hanging on to him for now. And look, they could sit there and say, we like Ayton, we want him to be here, but actions speak louder than words. That has not been consistent with how they've acted with him during games, etc. Now, new head coach could be different, but I still think Ayton, who did sign that max offer sheet with Indiana last offseason, would like to play elsewhere. Zach LaVine is a big-name player that has been connected to trade rumors. I think for now he's staying put because the Bulls, the way they've operated is as a team that wants to try and contend this year. They re-signed Nikola Vucevic. They brought in Javon Carter, who has been a role player on some contenders. They signed Kobe White to a pretty lucrative deal, so they're not operating as a team that's looking to be sellers right now. But I think at the trade deadline, LaVine is a name to watch, especially if Chicago is not a team that's going to contend, which I don't think they will be. I think they could be a playoff contender, but not a title contender. So let's revisit this one before the NBA trade deadline. Smaller name, but an impactful player still, Tim Hardaway Jr. Report out there that the Mavericks have been shopping Tim and that they would like to trade him to upgrade at the wing or center spot. Hardaway's a guy who it could be a streaky catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. He doesn't have quite that slashing ability that he had a few years ago when he kind of became Luka Doncic's sidekick, at least in the playoffs, when Kristaps Porzingis kind of got pushed to the side because Rick Carlisle and him just clashed and couldn't figure it out. But Hardaway the season after that had a pretty gruesome leg injury, and coming back from that, he shot the ball well last year from 38%, but he did not get to the rack as much, cut as much to the rim. He's kind of just a catch-and-shoot guy, so I think Dallas would like to upgrade from him. We'll see if he gets traded before the season. Shout out your favorite team in the comments. I am a Mavericks fan. Let us know who your favorite squad is in the NBA. We'll be reading your comments here at Chat Sports. One more trade candidate, OG Anunoby, who hasn't had the buzz around him this offseason as much as he has in the past, but there's been some. And look, if Toronto trades Pascal Siakam, I think Anunoby could and probably should be next. Like, if you're trading Siakam to me, who's probably the face of that franchise currently, moving on from Anunoby and hitting the reset button makes sense. They reportedly turned down 3 firsts at the NBA trade deadline this year for Anunoby. If that deal is out there, I'm pulling the trigger if I'm Toronto. I'm hitting that reset button. Anunoby's a nice player. He's not a superstar. I don't think he's even an all-star. I think he's a very, very good starting caliber player. But 3 first-round picks, even if there's some protections, I think that's something I got to heavily consider if I'm the Raptors, a proven franchise to develop talent. Imagine what they could do with 3 firsts for OG Anunoby. So there you have it, 10 NBA trade candidates, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Pascal Siakam. Those 3 have been heavily rumored to get dealt. Zion Williamson, Bojan Bogdanovic as well. Tobias Harris, DeAndre Ayton, Zach LaVine, Tim Hardaway Jr., and OG Anunoby. And now we sit here and wait to see what the next domino to fall is. I promise you when it does fall, we will have it covered here at Chat Sports. So subscribe today. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Shout out your favorite team in the comments, and we'll get you some shout outs. We got a Hawks fan from Ice. Denver's is a Rockets fan. Correct is a Hornets fan. Raphael is a fan of the Miami Heat. Michael is a fan of the Miami Heat, the arch rivals. Gaming Wizard is a Magic fan. Hornets and Cavaliers from Mark. That's interesting. Lakers from Muhammad. Sekai Dan is Orlando Tragic. I hate you all as a Magic fan. Maybe that's why you hate us, because you're a Magic fan. I could never hate you, though. The Cavaliers from Golden Eagle. Knicks from Michael Panza. Golden State. Dante is a Warriors fan. Rockets from Tim. I like Utah as well. I like what the Jazz are doing. I think they're building their team the right way. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. That way producer Coop can find the best questions available, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So use hashtag NBA or Super Chat. Coop, you think we got enough questions here? All right, here we go. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. It is mailbag time here at NBA Now by Chat Sports. My name is Harrison Graham. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. Get your questions in on the show. Jamie Miller, do you think the Mavericks will make a move to get a top player with Luka and Kyrie and their first-round pick? Do you mean like trade the first-round pick to get a player, or do you mean with Lively and Olivier Maxence Prosper? Depends what you mean by top player. Like, I don't think they're getting like a third max player. Like, I just don't think they're going to go that route. And quite frankly, I think in today's NBA, building with 3 massive contracts, it's hard to be a title winner, in my opinion, because you got to have some depth. Phoenix is going to try it. We're going to see if it works. But I think a guy like a Bojan Bogdanovic, that's been rumored recently, I think that could make sense where it's like good number 3, but not a max player, right? Could you get a guy who else would we like? Could you get like a center to be your third level player, like an Ayton or a Capella, a Zubats, a Miles Turner? But Turner's on a big contract, so we'll see. But I don't think like this blockbuster deal is happening. Decent deal to get another piece in here? Definitely think it's possible. The Spicer, do y'all think we'll see who got hot at Summer League, carry that over to the regular season to make a name for themselves? I.e. Jaden Hardy, Keontae George, Jabari Smith. I think those are 3 names to watch. Obviously, George is a rookie here, but I think Keontae George is a boom-bust type of prospect. I think he's either going to be really good or he's going to be out of the league in a few years. Jabari Smith, I think he's primed for a big year. That handle looks improved. They've been using him as a point forward in the Summer League, and he's looked effective in that role. So excited to see what he does with the Rockets. And then Jaden Hardy, I think he's going to be the Mavs 6th man this year. I could see him averaging 14, 15 points per game off the bench. So, yeah, I think we will see some guys who stand out in the Summer League have big seasons. Cross boss here. The Knicks ready to get to the next step. Look, it's one season, right? You've had 2 good seasons, 1 bad year in this 3-year stretch. Didn't make the playoffs that first time, but you were the 4 seed, I believe. Missed the playoffs 2 seasons ago, and then this past year made the playoffs and won a series. I think that was a good step. Can you build off that? Can you at least make the second round again? I think they can. Would I pick them to make the conference finals with what they currently have? I don't think there's enough there. Unless Julius Randle can play like he does in the regular season in the playoffs, bring more consistency, shoot 45% from the field, 36-37 from 3. His playoff splits just haven't been there. Like, Brunson needs a running mate. And to be frank, I don't think Brunson can be a number one on a title contender, but if Randle plays like an all-pro like he has in the regular season at times, I'd feel differently, but he just has not proven to be able to do that. How many games will the Knicks win this year? They won this past season 47. I think 46.5 is a good over-under. I think if they flirted with 50 again, that'd be a damn good season. So predict it for us. 47 wins last year. How many are they going to win this year? From Droop, do you think the Warriors end up trading Chris Paul before the deadline? I don't. If he's healthy, look, he's semi-washed, but he still knows how to play the point guard position. I think as a backup point guard, he has value. Now, is he going to be on the court in crunch time with Steph and Clay? I don't know. I think it'll depend on the game, but look, he's certainly overpaid for what he brings at this point, but I think he will be able to help that bench unit. And I do think they'll find minutes where he does play with Steph and or Clay, and they play strictly off ball, and he's finding them some shots. So I don't think he gets traded. I think they'll ride this out with Chris Paul this year. Jeremy, do you think Marquise Noel can be a good replacement for Fred VanVleet? I think it's a good comp for VanVleet. Undersized, crafty guards who are really good passers, who can shoot. I think, that's what you're hoping he can be, right? Like, if he reaches his full potential, he could be a Fred VanVleet type. Now, I don't think VanVleet's as small as Noel, so that's always going to be a challenge for Marquise Noel, but he's fun to watch, man. He's one of the best passers coming out of college I can remember in recent years. Look, he's 5'8", man. Like, you gotta be a damn good player to make it at that size in the NBA. I think he's got a shot. He's looked pretty good in the summer league so far. Edu David, what's your thoughts about Victor Wembanyama, first couple of games? I thought he looked lost the first game, and he admitted as much. And look, that's not – when he made that quote, I think people were like, wait, what do you mean you didn't know what you were doing? It's not that he doesn't know how to play basketball. It's that this is super unorganized. These guys practice twice and then go play. So it's not like you're developing these deep entrenched game plans. You don't even know half the players. A lot of these guys are going to be playing in China and Europe in 3 months. So and guess what? I think in game 2 he kind of showed, okay, I kind of got my feet wet. I know what I need to do. Guy dropped 27 and 13. So I think he's going to be just fine. I think there will be some learning curve, but he'll be an impactful player as a rookie. From Ezekiel, who should the Mavs get to pair with Luka and Kyrie? I mean, I think a dream guy would be Paul George. I don't think that's realistic. I would love a Clint Capella. I think he's gettable. Would the Hawks want Tim Hardaway? I'm not sure, but I think you could get Capella. I think he'd be a great center here. Gives Derek Lively a year to develop. I would like Bojan Bogdanovic. Would I trade Josh Green to do it? Coop, real quick, would you move Josh Green for Bojan?
No.
No? Okay. So, it's tough. Name someone the Mavs should trade for. Let us know in the comments down below. I think there are trades out there still. It just depends on if you're willing to move Josh Green and or Jaden Hardy. Correct cuts. Will the Rockets have to move a few pieces to free up cap space? Sort of a long jam at small forward, power forward, or do you just mean? I think you just mean space on the roster. Brooks, Barry, Terry, Tate, and now the young emerging Cam. I need not a lot of minutes to go around. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I mean, we know Dylan Brooks is going to play a lot. They just gave him $20 million a year, so we'll see who the odd man out is. I think that's what this year is about for Houston is. Among the young players, not named VanVleet and Brooks, which guys are real pieces moving forward? Because I think next offseason, you'll see them move some pieces that they don't feel are winning pieces for the long term. Dante Davenport, is Murray a top 5 point guard since he got a championship? Well, the question is he a point or a 2? He's kind of a combo guard because obviously the offense runs through Jokic so much. But strong case, right? I mean, the way he played in the playoffs, he played like a top 5 guy. He really did. I'll say this. He is a top 5 scoring guard. I think he averaged, 27 in the playoffs very efficiently? Yeah, like, he's a bucket. He's a bucket who can also dish. Chris Lopez, hey, do you guys think the Clippers should give Kawhi the max extension? Also, is Harden still at the table for a trade? I don't think I would give Kawhi that. I think I got to wait and see how this year goes. I mean, I love Kawhi. When he's fully healthy and engaged, he is a top 5 player in this league. How often has that been the case since he's been with the Clippers? Not often. And he is yet to be healthy for an entire playoff run. He's been there 4 years. That's hard to look past, Chris. Carter, is Pascal Siakam a good fit for Orlando? I actually would like this because they've got some intriguing young pieces, obviously led by Paolo Banchero. You get a good vet that's still young enough at 29 to help mesh with those young pieces, convince him to sign an extension, maybe 3 years, 120, something like that. I like it. I think Orlando's got a chance here. If you pair Banchero with Siakam and some of those other young pieces come along, they could be a playoff team sooner rather than later. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you love the NBA. We are the channel for you. Go ahead and subscribe for daily videos. All right. Which big-name player gets traded next? Coop, who is it? Siakam?
That seems like what the reports are saying, right? The streets are saying Siakam.
Unless a Dame thing just comes together here, but I
Which
think
doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
there'd have to be a shift in what Miami offers or could offer or a third team getting involved because Portland seems content to let this drag out. So Nappy says, could something happen today? I mean, something could happen at any moment. Doesn't seem that way, but Coop says he hopes so. It doesn't feel that way, Nappy, but we'll see. You should turn on the Mavs Summer League, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
They're underway. All right, we're going to sign off here. No loop today. Appreciate everybody who tuned in to NBA Now by Chat Sports. We'll be back with more videos throughout the week, so don't forget to subscribe. My name is Harrison Graham. Shout out Jeff Cooperstein, and we'll see you guys soon.
See you guys.
Here at Chat Sports.